Okay. Okay, Kingtheland. You got me. You got me. I'm intrigued. I'm interested. I would like to know more. What's up, everyone? It's Imani. Welcome back to my channel, Imani Does It, the channel where we talk about things that I care about. And today we are discussing episode 2 of the K-drama Kingtheland. Now, if you are interested in learning more about Kingtheland, the series, I have done a quick overview at the beginning of my episode 1 recap, which you can watch here. So we're just gonna get into it today. So without further ado, let's talk about episode 2. Okay, so episode 2 starts where we left off. So we have Sarang on the toilet and Guwon walks in on her. Now, they both freak out. Guwon quickly leaves the room and Sarang finishes up with, her business or whatever. Guwon confronts her about, having a random lady just using his toilet. And in this interaction, he realizes that Sarang is a woman that made him bust his butt on the treadmill 7 years ago and then cuss him out and embarrassed him in the gym. He then demands an apology both for using her toilet and for what she did in the gym 7 years ago. Sarang says, it was wrong of me to use your toilet. I am so sorry, but I will not apologize for what happened in the gym 7 years ago. In fact, you should apologize because you're being the pervert. Because remember, she thinks that he's the guy who sent her that inappropriate tip in the room key, but obviously we know that it's a case of mistaken identity. So the two of them have some choice words. They're obviously at odds with each other because she's calling him a pervert. He's like, I'm not a pervert. Why do you hate me? What's going on? So they start clashing. They have some choice words and then they go their separate ways. Well, they meet again at Guwon's welcoming ceremony because remember, this is Guwon's first day as the head manager at the King Hotel group. Now, when he is introduced as the new head manager, Sarang instantly freaks out because she realizes that the new perv is now her new boss. Now in this scene, we also get some insights into Guwon's background. So when he gets introduced and he steps to the podium, he sees his audience, which is basically a whole bunch of people smiling, fake smiling up at him, waiting for him to start his welcoming speech. And looking at all of those people, I guess it triggers something. So he has a traumatic flashback. In this flashback, everything is blurry and all we see is a whole bunch of adult faces. They look like butlers and servants and they just keep smiling at Guwon. You can tell it's a very young Guwon. He seems to be a kid. And he just keeps saying, please stop smiling, don't smile at me. And they all have the creepy like hospitality smile like this. And so in the flashback, Guwon keeps saying, don't smile, stop smiling, please stop smiling. So in the first episode, we got allusions that Guwon really hates smiles, especially fake ones. Now, the King group is big on fake smiles. So they're all about hospitality and making sure that every employee looks happy to serve you. So Sarang always has on her hospitality smile. And in one scene, they call it like Hermes. So we see from this flashback that due to his childhood, Guwon really resents these fake smiles. He really resents this fake hospitality that he will now be surrounded by because he's now working at the King Hotel group. So he collects himself from this traumatic flashback, gives like a 2-sentence speech, and then is presented with flowers by Sarang because she's the best talent. So it's her job to present the new department head with some flowers. You can tell neither of them are really happy to see each other on the stage. So after this event, Guwon invites Sarang to his office because he wants to get to the bottom of why she thinks he's a pervert. So after telling him her experience that happened in the gym 7 years ago, he denies it. And one of the first things that he says is, 1, I would never do something like that, but 2, you're not my style. Now, we all know in K-drama speak, you are not my style equals you are my future wife. So I'm sorry, Guwon, but you did it to yourself. You said the magic words.
Didn't realize is that she only identified him by a shirt
And he points out that anyone could be wearing a similar shirt to the pervert, so it wasn't exactly fair to assume that he was the creepy guy just because they were wearing the same shirt. And then once she kind of recounts what happened to her, she kind of herself came to the realization that she could have mistaken his identity for someone else. And so she pops on her fake hospitality smile and says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to offend you and hurt you." But Guwon, as we have established, does not like fake hospitality smiles. So he told her, "Please stop smiling." And she immediately drops it. And she actually thanks him because for her, she actually wasn't ready to put on a genuine smile in front for him. Apologizes again, more seriously this time and without smiling. And then she ends up leaving the office. So later that day, in addition to having an opening ceremony, they're also having an inaugural ceremony lunch for Guwon. And so Sarang, as the best talent and company representative, she's also invited to that lunch as well. Now this lunch is at their VIP lounge called Kingtheland. They did it. They said the name of the drama. So the point of Kingtheland is this very VIP, very exclusive lounge. They even have their own set of staff. So Sarang, even though she's been working at the King Hotel Group for over 7 years at this point, she's actually never been in the lounge because they only let the VVIP employees work in the lounge. Now, I will admit, the lounge is really pretty. It is quite extravagant, but I don't really know if it's giving lounge. I don't know, maybe it was just set up specifically for the lunch. But it's not giving lounge, it's giving banquet hall, So Sarang comes in and sits in the back of the lounge. Now in the entire front part of the lounge, the chairman, the evil sister, and Guwon are all sitting talking to, I'm assuming it's another CEO and his wife. And I would just like to point out, Harang mentions, the evil sister, she mentions that they paid $500,000 for some tuna. That tuna is $500,000. Eat the rich. So the guests are praising Hwarang, the evil sister, for putting on this luncheon to welcome her baby brother into the company. And they asked her, in front of him too, mind you, but they asked her are you nervous that he's joining? Because he could become the CEO. Now he's direct competition to you getting the CEO position. And she's, she has her good girl on act. She's like, he's not my competition. He's my brother. I should be helping him. Now, Guwon knows she's full of shit. So he's just like, really, girl? She says she's not worried and that she would never try to sabotage him, which means she would definitely do everything in her power to sabotage him. So the chairman ends up giving a toast, welcoming his son to the company, and then Sarang, as best talent and representative, also gives a welcoming toast along with her classic hospitality smile, and Guwon is not impressed, okay? He also gives his own speech, and during his speech, he specifically says, "I plan to rid the King group of fake smiles," and then looks at Sarang, and she's like, after the lunch, Guwon and his evil sister are talking, and he tells her, "Hey, I'm not trying to be here long. I will not be working at this company that long. Please don't go out of your way to sabotage me because it's not worth it." In the next scene, she sabotages him. So it's later that day, and they're walking out of the hotel, and the chairman requests that Guwon joins them at the house for drinks. And he seems like he wants to go. He seems interested in spending more time with his father. The father then gets in the car and pulls away. And so it's just him and the evil sister. And the evil sister says, "You're gonna go for drinks?" And he said, "Well, it seems like he wants me to go." And she says, "You shouldn't set foot on rough terrain." And that's all that Guwon needed to hear. He said, "Oh, that's okay. I don't need to go. I'm not going." So this is now another instance where he's not showing up for his father and seeming like he's not a team player because he's not willing to spend time with the family, even though it's his sister that keeps pushing him away from spending time with his father. Also in this episode, this is very much like a Guwon heavy episode, I feel like, now that I'm discussing this. But also in this episode, we get a glimpse into more about Guwon's moral compass and like what he deems right is wrong. There is a celebrity that comes to the hotel. She's like the celebrity who comes to the hotel. She's like the nation's mother, and she basically tries to get a free upgrade to a suite without having to pay for it. Now, Sarang is the one who's checking her in, and when she explains that she is not allowed to do this because it is against company policy, the celebrity starts throwing a fit. She like starts making a scene in the lobby. Guwon comes into the lobby and he basically shuts her down. He calls her a rude guest. He calls on the manager and berates the manager for making Sarang deal with this difficult customer rather than her. And he tells the manager to call security because the celebrity is now trying to steal from the company by trying to get a free upgrade, without paying for it. He then tells Sarang to follow him to the office, and he asks her to explain like why she let the guest continue to berate her and make a scene and basically be almost violent and very rude to her. And Sarang basically has to explain to him that like how they are trained at the King group, they have to deal with these difficult problems with a smile. They always have to be agreeable and try to solve problems in an amicable way, even if the guest is being the opposite, even if they are being rude, even if they are being borderline abusive to the employee. And you can tell that Guwon does not vibe with that at all. One, because we know like he doesn't like the fake smile, fake hospitality thing, but two, between this situation and episode 1 where he stood up for Shan-shik, I believe that Guwon has a very strong moral code of like what is right and what is wrong. And for him, taking advantage of your employees and taking advantage of service workers definitely falls in like the wrong category for him. And so he doesn't see those situations as okay. And he's frustrated, even though he should be frustrated at the King group, it's like he's frustrated at Sarang for putting herself in that situation, where it's really the job itself that's making her be in that situation. In the same meeting, we also learned that Sarang will also be giving Guwon an interview on a major business network. And side note, I hope she's getting paid extra, because it seems like she, as best talent, she be doing all these extra duties, and they better be compensating my girl accordingly, okay? Because they got her doing all this extra stuff and they better be paying her, okay? Period. Yeah, but she will be giving an interview to Guwon, and it will be in Jeju. So her, Guwon, and Shan-shik are all going on a little trip together to Jeju. But before they go on the trip, we get a little taste of Sarang's ain't shit boyfriend. Gotten senses from her conversations with her friends and family that her boyfriend isn't necessarily, he seems to always flake on their plans, and he's just not a very attentive boyfriend overall. So we cut to their date at the Namsan Tower. Now, I just know from other K-dramas, it's a popular date spot. And so like, it's a tower where you go to the top, and then like you can look around all of Seoul, and you can like put locks on the little gates and stuff, like you can do real cute date stuff there, right? There's a cable car that takes you from the ground to the top of the tower, right? First of all, why did this man have her walk these stairs all the way to the top of the tower? Why did he have that? Because she needs to stay in shape for her job where she's on her feet all day. So here she is in some heels and a skirt, walking up stairs upon stairs upon stairs, trying to get to the top of this dang building. So finally they get to the top of the tower. He gets a phone call. And then he takes the phone call in the middle of their date. And apparently he had forgotten that he had a reunion, a class reunion, the same night. So it's the middle of their date, and he's basically like, hey, I forgot we had a class reunion. Let's go to the reunion. Now they get to the reunion, which she doesn't want to go to. She tells him she doesn't want to go, but he forces her to go anyway. So they get to the reunion, and when they get there, he basically places her in like a corner in a whole separate table with some other random people. And then he proceeds to ignore her for the rest of the night. He's drinking, having a good time, singing songs, and she's just sitting there like, and he's like, and she's like. So eventually she gets annoyed and she leaves, and he chases after her, and she basically tells him, listen, I'm like 0.5 seconds away from breaking up with you. This is ridiculous. And he's like, no, I'm gonna come with you. Just let me go say bye to my friends, right? He walks in to go say bye, and then he gets distracted and starts drinking with their friends again. And so Sanong sees this and she's like, actually, I'm leaving. So she goes and she takes her a little sad stroll through Seoul. You know what men will always have? The audacity. So at the same time, Guwon is trying to look for Han-mi-so. Remember, that's the personal papers that he got in episode 1 that made him move all the way back to Korea. So he's actually trying to look into who this person is. Now remember, we don't know who she is. We know nothing about her. We just know they ran the papers. It's probably his mama. I'm like 90% sure his mama, but it could also 10% be a fake out, or it could be like his sister, like his half sister or something like that, you know? We don't know. But he's very unsuccessful. He doesn't see anyone coming up as Han-mi, so he's looking for her. He's very unsuccessful. So out of frustration, he also goes for a little walk. Anyway, they end up in the same park looking at the same skyline longingly. Now it's time for them to go to Jeju for the promo interview, okay? So Guwon and Shinshik arrive at the airport first, and when Sarang walks in, baby, listen, Guwon is like, because this is the first time he's seeing her like outside of her work clothes. You know, she got her hair down, her dress is okay, her curls are bouncing, she is walking, she is strutting through the airport. She is like, I'm here. And he is like, oh, she's actually fine, like she's very attractive. I am attracted to her right now. And this is like the first time we see like, okay, there's a little bit of attractiveness, a little attractive energy going on right now. I see it. So once they're actually in Jeju at the hotel, Guwon gets a call from his father, and his father is basically like, yo, this is a big deal. Like, don't fuck up, all right? Because this is your official announcement saying that you're coming into the company. How you perform this interview is going to positively impact the stock price. So if you do well, stock's gonna go up. If you do bad, stock's gonna go down. So that call is kind of foreshadowing that maybe this interview isn't as cut and dry as it seems, and maybe some drama will unfold. And that's further solidified when they're on the set ready to start the interview, and at the last minute, Sarang actually gets a brand new set of questions from Evil Sister, the managing director, and all of those questions seem to be related to memories that Guwon may have with his mother. Now, will that interview be successful, or will that interview spell disaster for Guwon? We don't know, because that's the end of episode 2. Now, I think episode 2 does a great job of further world building and allowing us to learn more about the characters. We get to see that despite his arrogance and pettiness, Guwon is a character with a strong moral code, and he often seems to be rooting for the little guy, especially when he feels like the little guy has been wronged in some way. This is probably due to his own childhood experiences and being considered second best, or maybe not good as his sister, because it seems like signs are pointing to his mom possibly being a mistress or having an extramarital affair with his father. So he always feels like he's not good enough or truly a part of the family. One thing that I really enjoyed is how quickly the misunderstanding from 7 years ago, from episode 1, was quickly cleared up. Like, it wasn't like something that dragged the plot along or something that they tried to stretch out to quote unquote enemies for a stupid reason. Because to me, misunderstandings like that they're stupid, and after an episode or 2, that can get really boring really quickly. So I actually really appreciate how quickly they kind of wrap that up, and it allows the two leads to continue to develop their relationship and maybe find more complex reasons not to like each other, or maybe complex reasons to like each other. We don't know yet, but I appreciate that the entire enemies to lovers trope isn't just because of one misunderstanding. I think a part of her actually feels grateful to Guwon because she feels like she doesn't have to put on that fake smile for him in his presence because she knows that he won't appreciate it. I also really like how we got to see her kind of stand up to her boyfriend and tell him that the way that he's been treating her is not acceptable, rather than her being meek or mild manner about it. I think that those moments really show that even though in her job she isn't always afforded the opportunity to stand up for herself, that when she gets that chance in her personal life, she takes it and she doesn't let that flow into her personal life. And when she feels like she is being disrespected or not treated well, she is willing to stand up and say something about it. So those are my thoughts for episode 2. I really look forward to see how this interview goes and how their relationship progresses in Jeju, because I believe Jeju is supposed to be like a romantic place. So yeah, I'm really excited for episode 3. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Comment your thoughts below. I'd love to know like what you guys think about episode 2. I'd love to know like what are your theories. Let me know. I'm interested. I really would like to know your theories below. So thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.